There's a formula that you need to look at. If you're going to reach your dreams, there's some important things. Like one, who are you surrounding yourself with?
We all need the right people in our life, the right partners to be successful. You know, you can't run a business, you can't be successful as a group on your own, by yourself. And it's always going to take more than one person to be successful. Today is Keith's Ice Cold Beverages, LLC. We have a 20-ounce bottled product of premium quality, all-natural ingredients lemonade. We're in over 100 locations in 2 states, and it's just kind of blowing up.
Keith's Ice Cold Lemonade.
Keith wants to raise $250,000 for the Little Lighthouse. Keith's Ice Cold Lemonade stand.
Proud. He is such a cool kid.
He is an amazing kid.
10-year-old Keith Boyd is quite the entrepreneur. He is the CEO of Keith's Ice Cold Lemonade.
This is 10-year-old Keith's lemonade stand on a mission to raise $250,000 for Little Lighthouse.
Keith Boyd, he is awesome. A Tulsa 10-year-old is working to improve the lives of children just like him.
But we knew that locked inside this 5-year-old boy was this awesome intelligence that just didn't have an outlet yet.
We took him to a psychologist to get an IQ test, and I told her, I said, he's really, really smart. And she looks at me and she's like, okay. And she, at the end of that appointment, stopped me and she says, I thought you were crazy whenever you came in for that last appointment, but I was wrong. I'm sorry.
One of the interesting things for me is, kind of mentoring Keith is how much I learned from him. And it's also, and Keith may not even know this, but it's also inspiring to others. So when I see that, I can turn around to the people that I get to talk to and my team members and my customers and go, look at this kid. And I've literally heard people tell me, I started my business because I saw Keith doing it.
My name is Keith Boyd. I have been diagnosed with cerebral palsy. I cannot speak with my mouth. I wrote a business plan with my eyes. I have a purpose.
The day Keith was born, we'd been in labor for about 40 hours. It seemed like forever. They had to take Keith via C-section, emergency C-section, and unfortunately they didn't treat it as an emergency C-section. They potentially waited a little bit too long. So when Keith came out, he was actually passed, and it took about a little bit over 5 minutes to resuscitate him.
I remember the doctor coming in and telling us that they were really concerned for his well-being. And at the time, we didn't really know what that meant. We knew that he was going to the intensive care unit and he was going to be sedated for a while.
You're supposed to have joy when your children are born, and instead of joy that day, we experienced a lot of confusion on what was going to happen next, because as soon as that happened, it was totally unknown.
He was very agitated. We didn't get to even hold him for a week. And it was just a really challenging time for us to try to even imagine what our life was going to be like. Finally, we were able to come home after being in the hospital for 2 weeks with him, and we tried to be in denial for as long as we possibly could. But then once he started not reaching his milestones as far as development, not setting up, not starting to roll over, we took him to therapy all the time and did everything that we knew how to do as parents, everything that the doctors told us to do, and just hope for the best.
You know, with special needs kids, you don't really know what's wrong immediately. It takes time.
We heard about the Little Lighthouse through one of Keith's physical therapists. We went and did a tour of the facility, and our hearts were broken. Seeing all the kids that are there and all the struggles that these kids face every day, and we met some really amazing people there. The staff was so welcoming and warming, and they just loved on Keith the whole time he was there.
The Little Lighthouse was founded in 1972 and has been providing our services tuition-free from the very beginning. We do not charge the tuition, but we also do not receive any government funds from the state, local, or federal level. We are not a United Way agency, which is important for people to know. We are totally dependent on private donations.
They really nurtured not just Keith, but us as a family.
We knew that we needed to find some kind of way for Keith to talk.
Keith was over 5 years old before he received his communication device. So for 5 years, you're trying to talk to your child.
The only way that he could really communicate with you is you could ask him yes or no questions, and he could shake his head.
If he wanted more or less, he could look up or look down.
For the longest time, we had no idea what he would be capable of doing. Really, until he got his computer and was able to tell us what was on his mind, we had no clue.
But we knew that locked inside this 5-year-old boy was this awesome intelligence that just didn't have an outlet yet. And so when we discovered that the Toby was coming out, it was so worth the wait.
And he got his computer, I believe it was like November.
In fact, it was one of the first things that he said to us when he received his Toby was, "Mom, Dad, I love you." And we just bawled. There was a few other people around and it was, we're just crying like crazy and just had a big love fest.
One of the things he said right after that is, "I hate applesauce," which had been a regular part of his diet for 5 years at that point, you know? It was one of the soft foods that he could eat really well. Well, he was just burnt out and finally was just like, "I hate applesauce." Keith's idea for a lemonade stand all came about through him wanting this toy truck. So I asked him, I said, "Okay, well, it's not your birthday and it's not Christmas. What are you gonna do for the money? I'll help you. Just come up with 3 ideas for a business. We'll review those and talk about them, see what the pros and cons are of them." And we were watching the news one evening and they were talking about lemonade stands. Just have a little lemonade stand. So Keith heard this on the news and he got real excited and he was like, "Oh my gosh, can we do this?" And I was like, "Yes, we can do a lemonade stand. That'd be fantastic." It went great. It was really successful. So Keith made the money to get his truck and he basically said, "Hey, why don't we give the rest of the money back to the Little Lighthouse?" And I was like, that was like the perfect thing you could possibly do. Keith immediately started planning for 2014. So he had his business plan set up. We were getting business cards made. Keith wanted to be the CEO of Keith's Ice Cold Lemonade. It was business every day. In fact, it was really difficult for him to focus on anything but business. So we were like, "Listen, when you're in school, stop emailing people about your business. You got to focus on school." A gentleman by the name of Arthur Greeno, he is on the board at the Little Lighthouse, and they were talking about what are we going to do this year to make some money for the Little Lighthouse.
And so that's when I reached out to Little Lighthouse, said, "Hey, we'd like to maybe do a big lemonade stand and raise some money for you guys." And they said, "Well, Keith already does that." And I said, "Well, Keith, what do you mean, Keith?" When this family came to me, they presented Keith's business plan that he wanted me to have. And it was like I said, it was very basic, but you know what? Nevertheless, it was a business plan that somebody spent a lot of time and energy creating. And so he knew which direction he wanted to go. And so it was a real honor at that point to say, "Hey, why don't we combine forces and see what we can do?" It was funny because I'm looking through Keith's business plan. You know, is this what you want to do? Do you want to, you want to sell 1,000 cups? And I'm thinking, let's do 10,000 cups. You know, and I'm going, all right, let's get together. This is going to be fun. So at that point, I knew that Keith and I kind of had a kindred spirit and knew how far we could take this. Keith was the first member of Thrive 15, so he's surrounding himself and learning from some of the mentors that are great role models and have gotten things done. Keith is constantly watching Thrive and just flourishing and thriving every day and expounding upon his young experience. So I think it's important very important to make sure that you put the right people with you when you're trying to move towards your dreams. Arthur had set a meeting with Thrive 15 and a lot of the members. Once everyone was able to meet Keith, see what the mission is for that summer, everybody immediately jumped on board and wanted to be a part of it. That meeting was really the kickoff for Keith's Ice Cold Lemonade stands that summer for the Little Lighthouse. Today is Keith's Ice Cold Beverages LLC. We're in over 100 locations in 2 states. You know, we've gone forward and set up the Keith Boyd Foundation, where we're going to help individuals with augmentative speech, communication needs, to give them a voice, just like Keith received a voice too. There's so many other people that are out there that need a voice as well. So part of the proceeds from the sale of Keith's Ice Cold Beverages is going back to the Keith Boyd Foundation to further its mission and continue the story and continue the march to empower others. So if you're interested in giving back just as Keith is, you could do it very easily to make a donation to the Keith Boyd Foundation at www.keithsicecoldbeverages.com. There's a donate tab in there, and we'll link you up and you just give to your heart's desire. Keith is one of those that, despite his challenges, he has dreams and he wants to go after them. What's stopping you from attaining your dreams? What was stopping Keith from attaining his dreams? Nothing. He had an idea. He just needed to gather the right group of people in order to be his arms and legs to have his dreams come true. Know who you're surrounding yourself with. If you want to hit your dreams, you need to share your dreams with other people.